Furry degeneracy is one hell of a thing, ladies and gentlemen. It starts getting you to like things that are just not acceptable in regular society, and then it starts making you have horrible takes, right? Like at some point in your life, once your brain is rotten to the point where it's just mush, not even a brain anymore, you start having really terrible takes, all right? And this video that I'm about to show you right now is no exception. All right, you know those photos that you see on Twitter sometimes of the commentary furries crossing their arms, just like giving their horrible opinion. They're giving their bad takes on something. Here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. We have found a new one. That's right. We have found a new furry degenerate commentator. It is great. It is wonderful. I don't even know how we missed this. I feel like this video was out for a while now. It is so bad. So bad, it's laughable. It's honestly laughable. It has so much shock value to it. Look, I like shock value as, you know, as the next guy, but this isn't supposed to be funny. This isn't supposed to be funny. This guy who uploaded this video did not intend this video to be funny. Like, I think he was completely and utterly serious, and like somehow he was, you know, trying to bait us out, you know, and then you know, once we get mad, it's like, oh, I got you, you got baited. I don't think this is the case. Now, the video that I'm talking about in question is why we need racism. That's right. That's right. You heard me right. Why we need racism. That is literally the title of the video. Man, if that doesn't tell you how bad the video is going to be, I don't know what does, okay? That's like a huge warning sign. That's a huge red flag, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, we have an individual that looks like, well, it's a goat. It's a goat, like your typical Proud Boys goat. I mean, just in general, they just really made the goat look like a white supremacist. It's funny. It's funny how it is. You know, how they just like managed to make it look so fucking lame and then just look racist at the same time. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just the video that makes them look racist. But I don't know. Just the first thing that I saw, I was like, I don't know about that one. I don't know about the goat dude. He's kind of sussy. But anyways, we're gonna be watching this video. I'm gonna give my 2 cents on it. We're gonna do a play-by-play kind of deal, the reaction stuff that you've already seen me done before. So let's go ahead and watch the video, Why We Need Racism by Achilles Argyle, or Argyle. Goodness Christ, I'm fucking dumb. But anyways, let's get right into it.
Now, before you all grab your pitchforks and storm into the comments section over the title of the video alone, let me just say that of course racism is bad. I wouldn't make a 10-minute video defending something so obviously terrible. Generations have been ruined because of racism, and lives are still getting destroyed by it. However, I don't think we should be painting racism as entirely evil.
Alright, so this is one thing I need you to pay attention to, alright? Like the first 30 seconds, actually first 21 seconds of the video, he tries to, quote-unquote, defend himself in a sense. He tries to deflect all the criticism by saying racism isn't bad. But that quickly goes away with the rest of the video, okay? Like, this is a poor attempt to put a shield up. Like, I don't even think he even made, like, a good effort of doing it. Like, you can't just expect people to be like, oh, you're okay, with 21 seconds of you saying racism bad, alright? This is literally him saying, yeah, I'm not a racist, but, or racism is bad, but.
Because, well, there's a reason why people are racist. And that's not because people want to be bad. It's because there are objective benefits to being racist.
Objective benefits. Objective benefits. That's funny. That is literally funny. I will say though, I do believe that humans are inherently evil. So, I mean, the argument to say that, you know, people can be racist, it's a thing, it's like born into them. I think that's a fair argument, that you can be born into racist, but it doesn't mean that racism is okay just because it's a quote-unquote natural thing. You know, I think it's something that we should suppress. One of those things, and I know that kind of sounds, you know, very sussy for me to say when it comes to like suppression, because like in the past we've had individuals to say, you know, you're gay, you need to suppress your gay thoughts, and it's like, not anymore. All right, we live in a more accepting society, which is great, but when it comes to stuff like that, you know, when it comes to being, you know, like having those racist thoughts, is like, you won't call that black person the N-word, suppress it. Okay, that's the best thing that you could do. All right, suppress it. Sometimes we need to suppress our darkest desires, our natural darkest desires, in order to progress in a good society.
And I don't think we should be discrediting these benefits with all this virtue signaling bullshit, because we are seriously reaching a low point in history without racism. A lot of people don't know this, but racism is actually the natural state for a lot of people, and has been for most of history. By forming exclusive groups, people are able to be amongst like-minded individuals, and the people infight significantly less. This is because people who think the same don't often come into conflict. Grouping together also provides a sense of pride. I mean, think about it. If you're surrounded by people like you, that think like you, and most importantly look like you, then you feel like you belong. That's a good feeling.
I can understand the whole concept of, being grouped together, being in a close community is a good thing, and I can't necessarily say that that's a bad thing. But to say that, you can't have a closed community with different, ethnicities is I think is wrong. All right, like you could have, a black man and a white man think exactly the same way, basically act almost the same way, right? There might be some differences, but you could definitely have a closed community with those individuals, right? With those different ethnicities. To claim that in order to have a good closed community, to have a little group to yourselves, you need to have some sort of racist agenda, to have only specific individuals. Like, there's no doubt, like, having all white people in a group would be good, but if a black person wants to get in there, you can't just be like, you can't. I'm sorry, but you can't. If he thinks differently than you, even still, I would still claim, you should probably let them in. Sure, there could be some infighting, but you know what? That's good. That's a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. We need to be able to bounce off ideas. To live in a bubble is not a good thing, because you become ignorant and you become dumb to everything around you that's happening. All right? To think one way is unhealthy. You must be able to form an opinion, dodge and weave different things, be able to defend your points, and just in general be tolerant of some things, because in the end of the day, if you're not tolerant, if you don't have good points, you're gonna sink real fast.
Segregation is an objective good in its utility because it leads to the formation of ethnostates, and ethnostates are historically proven to last longer than states that embrace polyethnicity. I mean, look at China. They have over 5,000 years of history because they are discriminatory and wary of other races, while also cooperating with their own. As such, the Chinese have been able to survive for as long as they have. China is an ethnostate, and referring to what I said earlier, an ethnostate with a racist population provides a sense of national pride and identity, and thus prevents infighting and strengthens the country.
See, the problem with that point there, ladies and gentlemen, is he thinks that because China has survived for this long because they're in a quote-unquote ethnostate. I don't even think that's true. I think there's a bunch of races over there, or ethnicities, and, I guess they're doing fine. But yeah, I would say the Chinese people over there are pretty racist, but I wouldn't say that's a good thing, right? The survival isn't the quote-unquote thing that makes everything good, right? Just because they survived for that 5,000 years doesn't mean that's a good thing. All right, I'm not saying that, Chinese people need to die already. No, I'm not saying that either. But I'm just saying that just because you're being racist to the point where it's like, oh, if we're racist, we're only like one race, we can survive. No, that's not a good thing, ladies and gentlemen, all right? Look, and even look at China. Look at China. Look at China for like one goddamn second, okay? It's not doing good, all right? It's under a regime that is very oppressive, and if you say anything that it goes against the agenda of the Chinese government, of the Communist Party, you're screwed, all right? You'll be sent off to the camps. That is a legitimate thing. You can't tell me that's a good thing, all right? You cannot tell me that is a good goddamn thing. It's awful. It is absolutely terrible. So the entire argument that he has is just completely flawed, just really weak, all right? Because the only point that he has that's like good, it's like, oh, this is a good thing, is China survives. China survives, therefore we need racism. What about the other things? What about literally the other things I listed off? The fact that China is literally dying, all right? It's literally in a point in life where it's treating its people like garbage. No, that's not good. That is not good at all. But trust me, though, he has a point to that as well. And ooh, mama, it is really fucking spicy.
When you work, create, and fight, you are doing so for the betterment of the people you care about, your own people. When you work, create, and fight, you are doing so for the betterment of the people you care about, your own people, a distinct race.
Alright, so here's the deal with this, ladies and gentlemen. He's not wrong. The point that he makes isn't wrong, but the conclusion that he comes to is absolutely ridiculous. Just, without a doubt, brain dead. So here's the deal. Obviously, an American would be willing to fight for America, for his fellow countrymen, alright? But that doesn't mean he's not gonna fight for, black individuals or, Asians and other things, right? Because here's the deal, though. America is a great country because it has a lot of mixed diversity. Alright, it has black people, it has white people, it has Asians, it has Hispanics, alright? At the end of the day, they're all Americans. So to claim that, like, oh, a white person is only gonna fight America because, he wants to fight for white America. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Same with any other country, alright, that has a mixed population. They're gonna do the same thing. They're gonna fight for their countrymen. For, I was gonna say another country, but I completely forgot the name for a second. But let's keep on with America. So obviously, like I said before, an American's gonna fight for an American. Alright, they're gonna fight for American rights, which is fine. That's good. But it's not gonna be just for white people, alright? It's not like that.
Living within an ethno-state creates an us versus them mentality, and it's been proven time and time again that having a defined, tangible enemy that is perceived to be pure evil unifies a people.
Again, the point that he makes here isn't wrong. Okay, just to give you a grand example, World War II, alright? America and Russia coming together to kick the ass of the Nazis. Alright, that's one thing. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's a legitimate thing. Alright, so obviously if there's a common enemy, people are going to rally together to take out that common enemy, right? So, yeah, I would say that, if you wanted to unite a people, you would have to find an individual or not a group. Yeah, I guess a group that would be like the evil of the evil. But it's the conclusion that he comes to. It's the conclusion that he comes to that's like, no, that's, you change, like, you kind of ruined your point. Like, I see where you're trying to say, but then, like, your conclusion is just absolutely off. It is completely, that is the biggest stretch. Honestly, the biggest stretch you can come to. But here's the conclusion.
Take Osama bin Laden in the War on Terror, for example. People rallied behind the tangible goal of killing Osama bin Laden, and everything was great. But once he was gone, suddenly the enemy was terrorism itself. Not any one group or person. It could have been anyone. What were we supposed to do then? It's not like we can go and just shoot terrorism dead. This is why we need people like Osama bin Laden, and groups like Muslims, and why we need to hate them.
Do you see what I'm getting here, ladies and gentlemen? The conclusion! The conclusion! Okay, it's the conclusions that he comes to that makes the video so bad. Alright, so here's the deal. Here's the point that he made. Alright, here's a point that he made. Alright, so people can rally together if there is a common enemy. Alright, that's true. The conclusion that he gets to is, therefore, we need to be racist towards individuals so we can be united. No! No! Oh my god! No! Do you know that image where it's like, you had me there? No. Actually, that doesn't work. That doesn't work here. No. Okay. No, actually, no. No, it doesn't work. I'm talking about the image where it's like, you had me there for the first half, not gonna lie. No, okay. Literally, it's like, how is he coming up with these conclusions? I swear to God. They're so bad. They're so bad. No, ladies and gentlemen, we don't need to be racist to be united. If anything, that divides us even more because not everyone's gonna get on the same fucking boat as you. All right, to be hating, the Asians or something like that. Like, we need to be united together by being racist against the. No, don't be brain dead, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be brain dead. You remember the thing called the Civil War? Yeah, that thing was a thing. It happened because obviously not everyone rallied together on the concept that we need to be racist, that we need to treat black people like property. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. His conclusion is flawed, completely flawed.
The politically correct may preach that globalization is the only way things should be, but a divided world gives states and people true independence, and thus responsibility for our own mistakes and development. I know I personally feel that certain races contribute significantly less than others to our culture, such as Mexicans and Indians, and the best way to avoid this is simply to divide people by race. Suddenly, there would be no more races writing on the achievements of others, or even the mere perception that some group is leeching off of our own hard work. Our achievements can be credited only to ourselves.
Boo! 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 Bad take! Bad take! Boo, boo. I love that. I love that so much. Oh, the Mexicans and the Indians don't provide much to culture. Shut the fuck up. Literally, shut your bitch ass up. You dumbass. You stinky dumbass. I swear to God. How are you coming up to these conclusions? You are ridiculous. This man is literally brain dead. This is what furry degeneracy does to a motherfucker. All right, this is what furry degeneracy does to an individual. All right, it makes them brain dead. It makes the brain go mushy. It's ridiculous. All right, here's the deal, though, ladies and gentlemen. The Mexicans, they do a lot for this country, all right? The Indians, they do a lot for this country. Everyone does their part in this country. If you think that a certain race is lazy, you're stupid, all right? If anything, there's something wrong with you. There's something legitimately wrong with you. We have our lazy people. Each ethnicity has their lazy people because in the end of the day, slothfulness is a very dangerous disease within man, all right? Doesn't matter what race you could be, what ethnicity you could be. It's a thing that happens to everyone. So white people can be lazy, black people can be lazy, literally anyone can be lazy, all right? To claim that a certain race is more lazy than another is dangerous, all right? Very dangerous and quite frankly, wrong.
Racism puts people in check. When you're constantly critical of another race's actions, you're going to call them out on it at any chance you can get. This is far preferable to the alternative of being blindly accepting of all of a race's mistakes, something we do so much in today's political climate.
I would argue that that's not necessarily racist, right? Like, you can be critical towards a country, right? You can be critical towards a country where it's like, hey, you know, that country's a little shitty because the way they treat people is not very poggers, but I wouldn't claim that's racist. Maybe you can be critical because you're a racist dipshit, sure, but I think that you can still hold countries accountable without being racist, all right? You don't have to blatantly look at them as like, hey there, Zipperhead, how you doing? No, you can't just do that. That's ridiculous. You're just making an excuse to be an ugly little racist. It's ridiculous. Again, it's the conclusions that he comes to that are so awful. They're just so disgusting.
This can be seen with the whole COVID-19 epidemic. The virus was caused by China. There's no way around that. It started in China because some Chinese idiot ate a bat, and it spread because the Chinese government was unwilling to be honest about the severity of the virus. In spite of this, people are defending China and shunning away anyone calling the virus the Chinese virus or the Wuhan virus. The virus came from China, and it's somehow wrong to call the Chinese out for it?
You know something that's very interesting that I saw a while back when COVID really started up? If it wasn't because of China, if it wasn't because of China silencing their doctors, 96% of the COVID spread would have died down. It would have never happened. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's really, honestly, this is China's fault, all right? Is that racist to say? No, of fucking course not. You would have to be stupid as well to think that's a racist claim, all right? He's not wrong. He's not wrong. The not the COVID vaccine. Maybe, no, not the COVID vaccine. COVID in general, the coronavirus did come from China, all right? And I would claim that it's China's fault for literally allowing this goddamn disease that has fucked all of us to spread because they're too goddamn stupid for literally to tell everyone's like, oh, you know, we need help. He's like, oh, there's a disease going about, you might want to get ready, all right? It's not because they're Asians, right? It's not because they're Chinese that they decided to do this. It's because they have a terrible, terrible, horrible government, all right? A communist, awful government. I can't pronounce government now, apparently. Oh well. But anyways, but you could be critical with that, obviously. It's like, I don't see how that's racist. All right. Again, you can make it racist to points like, oh, you say stupid shit. All right. But at the end of the day, it's factual. It's factual that the coronavirus came from goddamn China, and it's their fault for allowing the virus to spread to the point that it is right now. All right. It's their fault. It's their fucking fault. Will they pay for it? No, they probably won't. All right. Because everyone's too busy sucking off the man in that picture right there. Ridiculous.
Blind acceptance and aid of other countries is actively screwing us over. I mean, Africa is leeching resources from the first world, all because some liberal politician sees that their skin color is dark and takes pity on them. So they funnel food and water to them, instead of the hardworking men, women, and children in their own country. Shouldn't Africa be left to their own devices to figure it out for themselves?
You know what, ladies and gentlemen? It's the least that we can do, okay? To give them food. At least we can do that, you know? After their entire country was pillaged and raped by the goddamn Europeans, alright? They literally split Africa into a little game. It's like it's like fucking territory. It's like, hey, you take this, we'll take that part of Africa, we'll take this part. Ridiculous. Alright? Absolutely fucking awful. Fuck colonialism, alright? Fuck colonialism. That is one thing that I will always keep in my heart forever. Fuck colonialism. Alright? It fucked over Africa to a huge extent. Alright? So it's the least that what we can do is to give them food. Alright? Give them food, try to make them survive because they're fucked, because we basically fucked them over. Not America, but more likely the Europeans back in the day when they decided, you know what, we want everyone's land. Fuck you. Your culture, fuck that. If you don't follow our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, you're getting a bullet in your fucking head. You goddamn savages.
Similarly, Syria is pouring rapists and murderers into Europe, and people are just making the gates into Europe even wider to accommodate them. What a surprise, the rapists and murderers they willingly let into their country raped and murdered people. Oh, but they can't do anything else because they don't have the same rights as us. Oh, they're like this because of nurture, they say as they continue to let these primates fuck our countries.
Big yikes, ladies and gentlemen. Big, big yikes. There's so much hate in his heart. Alright, there's so much hate that is just seeping out in this video. It's quite clear. It's quite clear. Like, you didn't even have to wait until this point to realize there's a lot of hate in his heart. Alright, like I said before in the beginning of the video, what he said is like, oh, racism bad. Now, that is a weak shroud, alright, which can easily be pulled away to see the real agenda here. Alright, it's quite saddening.
Maybe, if they were told to stay in their own shitholes, they'd find that they have the same rights as in their own country, and they'd figure out that the only way to find a better life is to start by bettering their own land and not by running away from it.
He's not wrong there. He's not wrong there, alright? The point that he makes there isn't wrong. Alright, I have the same criticisms when it comes to, you know, Central Americans or just Hispanics in general when it comes to moving to America illegally. Because here's the deal, though. Right, when you move to this country, if you move to a country illegally, you have no rights. All right, you have, I guess, basic human rights, but you don't have the right to work. You don't have the right to drive because you don't have papers to get a driver's license. You don't have a social security. So basically, you're at the mercy of God, in a sense. Right, so like when you get a job, you'll have to find someone who is willing to accept illegal immigrants to work in their workforce, and they could be scummy, they could be really shitty people, they could abuse those individuals, right? They can abuse them in ways like paying them less, offering them less opportunities for breaks, you know, treating them like paid slaves, essentially, right? And the immigrants, the illegal immigrants, they don't have, they can't complain, all right? They can't ask for a better work environment, because if they do, you know what the boss is gonna do? Just call up ICE, get them deported. All right, so that's why I'm really anti-illegal immigration, because it's honestly best if you don't go into a different country, because like at that point you really don't have a lot of rights. So I definitely agree that it's best for those people to stay in their own country and do what needs to be done to fix their country. Will it be difficult? Absolutely. Is it impossible? I don't think so. I don't think so. So I definitely agree with them that those people need to stay in their country to fix it. All right, because the answer isn't running away. All right, you can't just run away from your goddamn problems. All right, and it's quite evident with our, you know, with the environment that we live in today in this world. All right, so I definitely agree that those people need to fix their countries. All right, I would say even to the point like maybe, you know, a country needs to step up and fix that country, but you know, I don't think that would really work out. So honestly, it's up to the people of that country to fix their own country. I don't know how they would do it, but it's one of those things where it's like you have to do it, or else nothing will change. It will continue to be a horrible country. And you know, you'll keep trying to escape to lands that you think is a better opportunity, which, you know, honestly, there are blatantly and obvious benefits to moving to a different country, but you know, doing it illegally is not right. right? It's not right.
Admittedly, white people do have their own shortcomings too, though they are less drastic than other races. They've only ruined pizza and Italian carbonara, which weren't too good to begin with, so not much loss there.
This is honestly one of the points in his videos that makes me extremely upset with him, okay? Because he's really making the claim that white people, right, as if they're a people group in themselves, which they're not, right, they haven't done that much damage to society. Fuck you! Ever heard of a thing called imperialism? How about colonialism? Ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of England, motherfucker? Goddamn Germany! Fucking hell! Jesus Christ, this man's acting like the white people haven't done anything awful, right? No! If anything, ladies and gentlemen, Britain, right? Great Britain, fucked the entire world, alright? With imperialism and colonialism, alright? They went around the fucking world, changing people's cultures, taking people's lands, and they decided, you know what? It's all fucking ours, alright? The sun will never set on the British Empire. Fuck England, alright? Fuck Great Britain, alright? Fuck British people. They're literally the fucking reasons why we have dipshits like this. Alright, they have literally radicalized the entire goddamn world. They made racism more violent. They have made it more accelerated. Alright, I'm not gonna say that they invented racism. That'd be fucking stupid. Racism was always a thing. But when Britain came along and started raping everyone, they accelerated the extent of how people are actually racist, right? They made it to the point where being racist is a commonplace, right? Which is so fucking sad.
If you've stuck with me thus far, then I need you to bear with me again, as I realize what I'm about to say may sound bad. Nevertheless, I have to say this. Slavery is good. Every great civilization is built on the shoulders of disposable workforce, and it's even better if this workforce is perceived as having less rights than a regular citizen. And this loops back to my main point, why we need to bring back racism. Racism desensitizes us to slavery. During the golden age of America, slavery was running rampant, and no one batted an eye. And this was because blacks were considered less than human thanks to 3/5 compromise. That compromise let the American people take advantage of them without any adverse psychological effects, giving industry a massive boost and allowing America to develop into the superpower it is today.
What an awful thing to say. What a terrible, terrible thing to say. Christ. I mean, yes. Back in the day, back in the ancient times, they had slavery. You know, they were able to do more things with like he said, with a disposable workforce. But that's not good. Alright, that's not good. I wouldn't say that their civilization was great, alright, because that's not true. Alright, and the fact that he's like, oh, we need slavery so we can make America great, no, fucking stupid. Alright, here's the deal though, ladies and gentlemen. Literally, at one point, the entire world basically shunned slavery, abolished it, and made it into a legal thing, an illegal offense, alright? And yet the world is still fine today, okay? We're still able to progress, we are still able to grow, be successful. I don't even know what golden age he's talking about. Like, maybe the industrial era? I don't know. I really don't know when it comes to America. I wouldn't say, though, back in the day when it's the slavery era, that would be the golden age. All right, because, there's a thing called the Civil War that happened because people were obviously not happy with the fact that we were treating, human beings like property. Alright, that's not a cool thing. And obviously a lot of people, especially up north, they were not happy with that. So obviously we went to war with each other at one point, and thank God we won when it comes to the Union. The Union won, and we were able to abolish slavery. Cool. Took us several more years to actually try to, get to the point where we allow, black people to vote. We don't treat them like absolute shit, where it's like a commonplace. Obviously, there's still individuals that treat black people like shit, or just really minorities in general treat them like shit. But it's still, at the end of the day, though, it's not as bad as it was back in the day, especially during the Jim Crow eras. But I wouldn't say that's the golden age, right? To say that's the golden age is a huge stretch, all right? And I think it's a clear example of him not knowing what the hell he's talking about.
You know why Trump says make America great again? It's because America used to be great. Used to be great because people used to be racist and own it. people wore racism like a badge of honor. Today we stigmatize racism, and thus America is no longer great again.
You know, I was watching one of the townhouses of Donald Trump, and there's this black individual that made a very good point that still to this day gets to me. It still sticks with me, where he claims that America was never good because it was never good to its own citizens, aka the minorities, right? And I was like, you know what? He's not wrong, okay? For white people, it's wonderful, it's great, but for literally anyone else who isn't white, it's not so poggers, all right? It's not kosher at all, okay? So with that thinking, with that way of thinking, I was like, you know what? He's right. America was never great. It has its issues. It has its great moments, okay? It has its great moments. I won't sit here and be like, America is a racist. I won't say that, all right? But America has its problems. Maybe at some point we could say that America was good. Maybe America was great. But to say that it was great for everyone, I would claim that not necessarily. No, I would say that for some demographics, it was bad. It was still bad. And even to this day, it's still bad. So maybe America will never be great because we don't have the capabilities of, you know, treating everyone with respect. But here's hoping that we can.
We need slavery. We need a group of people who are expendable for manual labor. China has been doing this with their own people, and they've become a global superpower from absolutely nothing. Imagine how powerful we could be if we took advantage of minorities and the racially inferior.
Go fuck yourself. Honestly, go fuck yourself. What an awful take, alright? Again, he's using China as like the go-to example where it's like, oh, look at them. They're using their people, as expendable workforce. Oh, they're doing great. They're not doing great. Okay, yes, they're still here, they're still kicking, but they're not doing great. That example right there, the photo that he uses, just goes to show you how shitty things are over there in China. Okay, it's not great. It's not poggers. I don't know how he oh my god, I really don't see how he can look at that and be like, yeah, that's okay, that's cool. We need to do the same thing. We need to grab minorities and treat them like shit. You know, but we already do that, ladies and gentlemen, and that's, where Mexicans come in. The Mexican has a horrible life. He works so fucking hard, but he goes home to nothing. All right, he does everything. He builds entire cities, and then he goes home to his shitty little trailer park home. All right, do you know why that is? Because America treats them like expendable workers. All right, essentially paid slaves. So he got something wrong there. We do that. We do that. To basically Mexicans, or Hispanics in general. Hispanics in general, America does that, for sure.
We need a group of people we can oppress and use, and that shouldn't be people of the same blood. Without a group to take advantage of, the populace becomes discontent due to the unnatural workload, and development stagnates.
But we don't, though. We really don't. I don't know why you think we do, but we really don't. The point that you made is garbage. All right, absolutely fucking terrible. This time the point is bad. The point that he makes is just fucking terrible. All right, the point and the conclusion are just fucking dog shit.
Okay, I realize I've been going on about the bigger picture for a bit too long. So what about the other side of things? How would being racist affect you, the viewer, positively? Well, to start with, we need to look at the basics of Jungian theory. Now, I don't expect many of you to understand this, as you kinda have to be in the know about this stuff. So I'll make this as simple as I can. Jungian theory expands off of Sigmund Freud's structure of the human psyche, with the id being our basest, most purest form of instinct. Both theories have one thing in common: the idea that our subconscious, the deep, dark, and repressed id, has a concrete effect on our conscious actions. Jung takes this one step further, saying that in order to complete ourselves, we must accept this subconscious manifestation of ours, not to reject it. The yin completes the yang, just as racism completes the soul. Don't lie to yourself neither. Being racist feels good. You're repressing your inner hatred by refusing to be racist, by refusing to generalize a race into one offensive caricature. But really, deep in your subconscious, you know that that's what they really are. You can't live without strife nor negativity. You need those elements of human life to balance yourself. Accept it. Racism is chaos, and our minds are just as chaotic as it if we condemn racism deep down. The world that the left strives for is a non-existent realm of perfect euphoria, something that literally cannot exist. And there is only one way it can exist, and let me tell you, it can only exist if we are not in it.
Alright, so let's unpack this. We have another situation where he makes a decent point, but the conclusion that he comes to is absolutely brain dead. Alright, to give you, the first thing that he says is, racism can make you happy. Alright, for an individual that has racism inside them, and they try to suppress it, yes, it would make them happier if they just accept the fact that they are racist and they, feed into that racist ideas, and just in general be a racist outside of the mind. Alright, yes, that would make them happier. But that can literally be said about anything that society doesn't agree that is correct or pleasant to see outside of your privacy of your home. Alright, that could literally be said about anything. To give you an example here, just look at, homosexuality. Homosexuals have been told for a long time to suppress their feelings, to be like, hey, you shouldn't be gay, don't be gay, don't think gay thoughts and shit like that. Same thing with trans people, it suppresses them. It suppresses that, and people will try to suppress that, and it hurts them. It makes them sad, right? But when they accept the fact that they're homosexual and they are open about it, they're much happier. It makes fucking sense. The same thing could be said about racism, alright? But here's the deal, though. Fuck happiness, alright? I've always said this. Well, not always. Now, not recently, more like 3 years, maybe 4 years now, I've been saying that happiness is cheap, alright? Happiness is cheap. This is a grand example of where happiness is not worth it. If being unhappy means you're a decent person, I think that's a positive thing. Yes, for an individual that has racism in their heart, they have hatred in their heart, and they suppress it, it's gonna make them unhappy, right? There's gonna be fights within them, because again, at the end of the day, human beings are naturally evil. Human beings are naturally, cruel and bad. Alright, I think that's fact. I think that's legitimate fact here. But we still have to repress it, alright? Because if we accept it completely and we just go rampant, we're gonna fucking lose everything, right? We become more savage and honestly more unhappy. Alright, so there's like a switch almost, right? It's like, yes, being racist can make you happy, but the people around you will not be happy, which in turn would make you unhappy as well if you care about those that you love, alright? So, he's not wrong, but again, the conclusion that he comes to is absolutely stupid. And then the final point that he makes is true as well. We will never get to a point of, utopia, right? Like, we will never get to a point of pure perfection. And if we want to get into pure perfection, if we want that, then we all have to fucking die. Because here's the deal, though. We are too fucking stupid. Man has been created to be naturally naive, dumb. We are naturally, again, evil. And we will never get to the point where everyone's gonna be like, kumbaya. Right? We're not gonna get to a point of complete and true peace. Alright? It's sad. It's fucking sad, but that's just how it is. It does not mean we should not strive for that. It does not mean that. We should still continue to seek this point of utopia, even though it's impossible. Why? Because we need to care for our fellow man. We shouldn't be racist towards each other. We should not be showing hatred towards each other. But in the end of the day, we should try our best to rebel against our nature, our natural nature. Maybe at some points we should accept what we are, alright? In some instances, that's fine. But to the point of being racist of what he's saying, I think is wrong. I think it's one of those things that, me personally, I think it's worth being sad over, alright? Maybe you can't say a certain thing, suppress it. Continue suppressing it. Don't be a public racist, alright? Keep that shit to yourself. Well, that's the end of that god-awful video. Like, Christ almighty, hello. I've been talking about this for 50 minutes. Christ, I'm gonna have a fun time editing this. Jesus Christ. But my goodness. Absolutely brain dead takes here, ladies and gentlemen. Terrible. Why we need racism? He did a terrible job explaining everything. and thank God, honestly, that he did a terrible job. Because imagine if he did a great job. Oh my God, he would turn so many people into racists. But at the same time, I don't think so. But what do you guys think? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But that's all I have to say for this video. So thank you everyone for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit that like button. You want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification to be notified on my next video. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.